Mhm.
Welcome everybody to another reading of Lord Meher on a Tuesday night India time. And I request everybody who's on Zoom to please mute yourselves. And yeah, so we are going to start from 1168. Today is the beginning of September. The school, based on spiritual ideals, was run by two dedicated, selfless individuals at the invitation of its principal. Top Khane Baba left Panchgani on Saturday, 12th April 1930 for a 3-day visit to Kolhapur. They arrived at 9 p.m. and were taken outside the city to Tapovan, where they were accommodated. Baba was up early at the next morning by 5 a.m. to visit the boys during their prayers. At 8 a.m., he played a game of cricket with them and at 9 had tea. The boys flocked around Baba and each asked Jalbhai for a photo ring of Baba and a photograph. Chanji wrote, it seemed as if the long forgotten Meher ashram atmosphere was revived again. At 10 o'clock, Baba was accorded a grand reception by the faculty and students in the school who all had labored to receive the master with full homage. One young student had worked so hard that he had fallen ill from exhaustion. When Baba had first arrived and came to know of this, he asked to be taken to meet the devoted lad before anyone else. The boy had a high fever but was thrilled at seeing the master and, in all humility, said, if you are a real Baba, a true Satguru, I will be well by tomorrow to work in your service. The next day, the boy felt well enough to attend the programs. Baba specified that the boy sit beside him and paid special attention to him. Baba gave a discourse on meditation and the purpose of creation, which Vishnu related in Marathi. Baba urged the boys to meditate for 15 minutes a day, explaining in a simple way exactly how to do this. Early in the morning, after your ablutions, sit alone in a secluded corner and begin thinking God is one. God is everywhere. God is in everything. God is beyond everything. These four thoughts should be uppermost in your mind for 5 minutes. Other thoughts will come, but you should concentrate your mind only on these four thoughts and no dozing. If you feel like dozing, wash your face and start again. Then 10 minutes repeat silently. Repeat Om with each breath, inhaling and exhaling without opening your mouth. None has any idea of what real meditation means and its advantages. It brings forth all the wonderful powers latent in the mind. The mind's powers are really wonderful, but none knows it. I'm just going to repeat this once again. Can you just go back to that page, Marvin? Thank you. So, Baba said to begin thinking God is one, God is everywhere, God is in everything, God is beyond everything. And then he said for 10 minutes to sit silently with by repeating Om, inhaling and exhaling without opening your mouth. So through the nostrils for 10 minutes. So this would be a nice practice to do for whoever feels guided to do it. Next page, please. Thank you. An evening gathering was held at the school on the 13th at the request of Topkane and Dixit. Baba planted a mango tree on the school grounds. One of the youngsters was called on the stage and given charge of looking after the tree. Dixit, the vice principal, told the boys, as the tree grows and selflessly gives out its fruit to others, so also should you grow in moral and spiritual greatness and then selflessly serve others who are in need. This is the lesson taught by Meher Baba. Topkane delivered a short speech on the occasion in Marathi, from which the following is an ex, ex, excerpt. What we as teachers, by our sincerest efforts, have failed to do during the past 12 years to inculcate love and morality in the hearts of the boys, Meher Baba, by his very presence, has in one day created that love in them. This we could never have done. It is concrete proof of what a Sadguru can do. I firmly believe that there is no need to seek out Sadgurus who, being realized souls, know and see where thirsty souls are, where thirsty souls are, and contact them themselves to give them a lifting hand. I believe that Sri Baba must have seen that there are struggling, yearning souls here with higher aspirations, and hence has come here to bestow his grace and august blessings. I pray to Sri Sadguru Meher Baba to continue to have his grace and nazar on this institution. Baba dictated these remarks, which Vishnu related. Out of all the paths of self realization, the path of karma yoga, that is service, is the most advisable for you. Sincere, selfless service to others, which, if done wholeheartedly, will gradually wipe away much of the lower self element in in one's nature and enable one to progress steadily yet surely towards the goal of salvation and self realization. Although the grace of a Sadguru is essential for reaching the goal, the selfless service is sincerely done, will render one worthy of the grace of a Guru. I am indeed highly pleased to see such a clean, healthy, devotional atmosphere here. The feeling of brotherhood, love between the teacher and the taught, and an intense longing for the higher ideals of life here and hereafter, culminating in a desire for divinity. That is the reason I feel so happy here amongst the devotional souls whose inner earrings I know fully well are likely, highly like and appreciate. Eugene, would you like to read next? Thank you.
Baba gave his blessings to the teachers and students and promised to give you all a helping inner push on the path if you act sincerely in accordance with my advice and instructions, which made them very happy. On Monday, 14 April, Baba and the Mandali went to Anna Saheb Kale's residence for lunch. And in the evening at the Tapovan, Baba played a game of field hockey with the schoolboys. While Baba was playing with the boys, the ex-Divan of Kolhapur state and two other influential men drove up in an expensive car. They were surprised to find Meher Baba playing hockey. They desired darshan, and Baba granted their request and dictated this brief message. With children, I am a child. With the old, I am old. With women, I am a woman. With men, a man. With the rich, I am rich. And with the poor, I am poor. Despite all this, I love children most as they have no desires. I enjoy playing with them, and my playing with them makes them drink wine, parentheses, feel love, close parentheses, which they can drink more of while playing. There was an entertainment program and dinner at the Tapovan that night for 100 persons. Baba sat with the boys. In the course of speaking with the boys, some ill feelings between a few of them came to light, and Baba scolded them about it. Many wept in regret, and Baba forgave them, promising, if you all behave well, as instructed, for only 4 months, without giving any cause for complaint, I will come here again and break my silence here. Baba left Kolhapur at noon on the 15th of April, reaching Panchgani the same day. In Panchgani, Baba would daily walk to the excavation site where his seclusion cave was being dug. On one of these inspection tours, Baba made reference to his past incarnation as Shiva Ji. Being in Tiger Valley reminds me of my past days here. This mountain area was then full of the noise and bustle of continuous activity on all 4 sides, for there was a military camp in this jungle. Near the huts where Baba and the Mandali were staying was a mosque. As was customary, early each morning and several times throughout the day, the name of God was shouted loudly by a pronounced hoarse voice, Allah, Allah, Allah. When the Mandali were discussing this on Thursday, 17 April 1930, Baba commented, is God deaf? Where is the necessity of shouting his name so loudly? It makes one's heart skip a beat. But God does not listen to such bleating. He has an ear only for the voice of the heart, of which the world has no idea. The digging of Baba's cave was going slowly. On 19 April, showing his displeasure at the tedious pace, Baba asked the Mandali if they thought the cave would be ready for the 15th of May. All expressed their doubts, but Kala Mama assured Baba he would do his best to see that the cave was ready in time. However, Baba remarked, I think it is better if we return to Meherabad, where a cave for seclusion can be dug more easily. Padri, who had come to Panchgani, was willing to proceed to Meherabad to take up the work, but Kalamama promised Baba that the cave would be ready on time. Baba then canceled the Meherabad plan and decided to go to Bombay until the cave was finished. John Marquis and Dunjisha came to Panchgani on 20 April, and Baba permitted Marquis to return to Panchgani. That may be pronounced Marquis, I'm not sure. To return to Panchgani in mid-May before Baba entered seclusion. Baba spent that day with the few boys accompanying him, playing cricket and permitting them and the Mandali to have their meals with him. Baba instructed Chuggan and Vishnu to individually tutor the boys in English and arithmetic with Baba's personal help. Chuggan was also sent to Kolhapur and Pandharpur to bring a few good boys, and Vishnu was sent to Pune. On the 24th, Rao left for Bombay with instructions for Kakabaria to bring his car to Panchgani. On Saturday, 26 April 1930, Baidul brought a boy to Panchgani. Baba left for Bombay that same day at 10 a.m. with the Mandali.
Footnote says it is not recorded where Baba stayed in Bombay, but most likely at Kakabaria's sister's apartment.
The next morning, he visited the Elephanta Caves, Wilson Dam, Mazagaon Gardens, and Bandarwada Reservoir. They went to Hanging Gardens also, but as it was a Sunday and crowded, they drove off. Meanwhile, Baba had sent Chuggan, Pendu, Rao Saheb, and Vishnu in search of good boys, and they brought 6, except for a boy named Baiya, brother. Baba promptly sent the others away after giving them new clothes. In the afternoon, Baba went by taxi to Victoria Gardens, which was also crowded, so they drove to Worli. He went back to the zoo at the gardens the next day and spent about 20 minutes in front of the lions and monkeys' cages.
It's quite a long time for Baba to be there.
Oh, go ahead, Marvin. I've read a couple. Your turn.
A worker there recognized Baba and requested his blessing, which Baba gave. In Bombay, Baba visited the homes of Dina Talati's mother, Rupame, Kakabaria, and Naroji Dadachanji. Naroji and Chanji's father, Hormuzji, was a pious Orthodox Zoroastrian, an honest and saintly person. Hormuzji had developed cancer of the throat and was unable to even drink water, but Baba ordered him to eat fish. Taken aback, Hormuzji was a strict vegetarian. He nevertheless ate some fish as Meherabad's prasad. It was truly extraordinary that the old man, who could hardly swallow a sip of water, was suddenly able to eat fish. Thereafter, he began taking food, and though he was still very weak, his pain lessened. Sometime afterward, he died a peaceful death, and the whole family was grateful to Baba for easing the old man's last months. Baba, the Mandali, and 2 new boys returned to Panchgani on the 29th, traveling in 2 cars, 8 in a Buick and 6 in a DeSoto. Pendu, Chuggan, Rao Saheb, and Babu Kale traveled by train. Baba sent the boys back to Bombay the next day in the DeSoto, along with Vishnu and Chuggan. On Wednesday, 30th April 1930, Baba and some of the Mandali rode in the Buick to Mahabaleshwar to see a Hindu Mahadev temple called Gaimukh, in translation, cow's mouth. The squat temple encloses a stone cow at one end of a pool of water. From the cow's mouth, a stream of water pours out and runs into the pool, which overflows down a plateau into the valley. This is the traditional source of the Krishna River and its tributaries. Baba visited Mahabaleshwar the next day also. Nilu arrived on May 2nd for a few days during his summer holidays from medical school, and Gani, Sadashiv, and Taibali arrived the following evening and stayed for almost a week. Kakabaria came too for a few days. On Sunday, 4th May, 1930, Baba again visited Kolhapur, where he was received with reverence by the faculty and boys of the high school. For 2 days, Baba spent much time instructing the teachers concerning their conduct in running the school and about the boys' education. On one occasion, there was a bhajan program. On the 7th, after returning to Panchgani, Baba further instructed the Mandali about searching for boys. Remember 4 things to look for in your search for the right boys. They should be good looking, healthy, smart, and clever. Despite your best efforts for the past 6 months, you have not brought one suitable boy to me. A common truck driver can find an energetic boy to help him. For their purposes, worldly people can find boys to their liking. Yet a Sadguru is unable to find a single solitary boy for his special purpose. Despite this, we should keep in mind my circumstances and the fight between myself and Maya, which has created these circumstances. The reason is that I have to do my important work, and that work is done with the help of Maya. Maya is opposing my work, yet this very Maya is the medium of my work. During April and May 1930, the Mandali would bring boys to Baba after thoroughly searching the area every day, but Baba would send them back either immediately or after a few days. He would play with the boys and discourse to them in simple terms. Each evening, Baba would explain spiritual subjects to the former MEHER ashram boys. On frequent occasions, these boys would accompany Baba on hikes. Baba was seeing no one else in Panchgani and had ordered that even Rao Saheb's Pandit's family, parentheses, Kalamama's son-in-law and Baba's host, in paren, was forbidden to meet him. A spiritual seeker named Biaralal had met Baba at Meherabad the previous year, and Baba permitted him to stay with the Mandali. He was sent to Ahmednagar on the 30th and returned with his nephew, Gacha. Baba liked Gacha and kept the boys with him for some days. Some of the Mandali had shared in the work of digging the cave at Tiger Valley from the very beginning and would work hard whenever they were not on tour with Baba to Bombay, Pune, or Kolhapur. But from Thursday, 8 May 1930, to help speed up the work, all the men Mandali were recruited to lend a hand. They would mix the cement and carry water from below to the excavation site. One evening, as the last concrete was being applied, clouds suddenly gathered in the sky and threatened a heavy downpour, which would have ruined all the cement work executed that day. Baba stepped out of his hut to view the sky. Soon after, an argument broke out between Masaji and Kaka Shahani. It was as if their quarreling drove away the clouds, because it did not rain until 11 that night, which allowed the work to be completed and the concrete to set. On the 9th, while perusing the newspaper headlines, Baba remarked, "Mahatma Gandhi has been arrested. Kolhapur is in the grip of a riot." Footnote: Hindus in Kolhapur had burned a Mohammedan man alive on a public road. In Rangoon, a cyclone had taken the lives of 1,000 people and leaving 30,000 homeless and without shelter. Baba then reminded the Mandali of what he had disclosed earlier. During one of my avataric periods, or advents, I was in seclusion in Burma for 10 years without food. And now, as I prepare to enter seclusion, there are riots, strikes, and confusion in all 4 directions. Yet, this is nothing major, and the chaos will increase. but if the disturbances increase on a wider scale, I will have to change the place of my seclusion. That day, a telegram was received from Kolhapur informing Baba that Dixit, the vice principal of the high school, had stopped speaking and eating and was even refusing water. He was said to be weeping out of love for Baba. In response, Baba sent Dixit certain instructions by telegram. A devoted professional singer from Pune named Master Krishna came to Panchgani and performed for Baba that day from 10 p.m. to 2 a.m. On 12th of May, Manik Shroff came for the Master's Darshan with John Marquis, who had come a few weeks before. When asked what he wanted, Manik said he wanted God. To attain God is extremely difficult, Baba stated. Only the brave can realize him. Manik, nevertheless, showed his complete willingness to obey Baba. Thereupon, Baba informed him about his seclusion. Some of my mandali will also be in seclusion, fasting on milk. Manek expressed his wish to be included among them, and in spite of Baba's admonitions, he persisted. So Baba sent him and Marquis to Meherabad with Pendu to remain there in seclusion, subsisting only on milk. Gustaji, Masji, Anna 104, BR Rilal, Nadersha, and Kaikushru Yektai were to do the same, as were some of the mandali with Baba in Panchgani. Pendu and Homi Bhatina were to look after the needs of the Meherabad group. On Tuesday, 13th May 1930, Rustam arrived in Panchgani with Frani, Dina Talati, and Padre, driving a new Chevrolet from Bombay. Baba proceeded in Kakabaria's new Buick to Pune with the mandali and boys, and the rest of the mandali went in a bus that had been placed at Baba's disposal by Bital Bakri. By Sita Shiv Patil's arrangement, a darshan program was held in Pune. Baba sent Chagan and Bua Saheb to see his parents, but he himself did not go. Chagan and Bua Saheb were instructed not to reveal Baba's presence in Pune. Baba returned to Panchgani in Kakabaria's Buick. On his return, Baba sent Rao Saheb to Bombay to contact Aga Ali's father. Okay, next reader.
Rosalie, would you like to read next?
Yeah, I'm trying to fix it right on the, yeah. He also sent Kakabaria to Nasik to stay with Naval and Dina. Burjor Sarkari, the young thief from Pune, who had been living with the Mandali for the past 3 years, was instructed to go to Bombay. Rustam also left by car for Nasik as directed, and Vital's bus was returned to him in Pune. Thus, no motor vehicles remained in Panchgani for Baba's transportation. Preparations for Baba's seclusion in Tiger Valley were now complete. By Baba's directive, Upasni Maharaj's birthday was celebrated that year in Pune, Sadashiv's house. After the celebration, several of Baba's devotees, including Gulmai, came to Panchgani to meet Baba and see the cave. Meanwhile, selected ones in Nasik, Pune, and Ahmednagar were also ordered to remain in seclusion and fast on milk. In Ahmednagar, the entire Sakta family stayed secluded. In Pune, the Kasba Peth Mandali did so. And in Nasik, Kakabaria and a few others participated in the seclusion. Baba entered the cage. Baba entered the cave in Tiger Valley for his seclusion at 10 o'clock at night on Thursday, 15th May, 1930. And the Mandalay at Meherabad entered their separate rooms at the same time, according to his previous instructions. During the seclusion, Baba was not totally aloof, for he would come out of the cave occasionally and visit the grass huts of the Mandalay and boys nearby. On more than one occasion, Baba expressed much concern about bringing Aga Ali from Persia. He sent Rao Sahib several times to Bombay to confer with Ali's father, Haji, about when the boy might be returning to India. On the 17th, there was a discussion about the April issue of the MEHER message. Dastur had published a notice that some devotees of the master were participating in the agitation by the Congress Party. And I am also going to take part in it. Baba did not wish to be associated with politics and remarked, I have warned Dastur so many times to stay away from politics, but in spite of his promise to me, he is going against my wish. Let him do as he likes. I have no concern with him. He will repent for this. On the morning of Tuesday, 20th May, 1930, Baba rose early at 4 o'clock. After awakening the Mandalay, he stated, from today, I have to keep myself in strict seclusion and not come out of the cave. So before daybreak, all of you should proceed to the cave with your belongings. Baba then walked toward the cave with Chanji. They first stopped at Vishnu's hut, and Bua Sahib, Baidu, Chagan, and Ali Akbar brought Baba's personal things along. Baba then assigned Vishnu the hut on the extreme left and on the right side below the cave. Nearer to Baba, he gave the hut to Bua Sahib, Chagan, and Chanji. Baidu, Rao Sahib, and Ali Akbar were assigned the upper hut above the cave. Footnote.
Rao Sahib was in Bombay, but returned to Panchgani on the 22nd of May, 1930. He was sent back to Bombay on the 23rd for 2 days. Bua Sahib was sent to Pune and Meherabad on the 24th.
Kaka Shahane and the boys remained in the huts down below, and all were prohibited from going near the cave. Before entering the cave, Baba asked, will the seclusion group in Meherabad last? I have grave doubts about Shraf and Marquis. He retired inside the cave at exactly 9:45 p.m. The next morning, a telegram from Pendu arrived saying that Shraf and Marquis had left Meherabad. Baba expressed no surprise. As soon as the seclusion became more strict, people suddenly began coming for Baba's darshan, but were prevented from going to the cave. A rumor had recently started in Panchgani that Meher Baba had confined himself inside a cave. The entrance had been sealed, and afterward, to demonstrate his divine powers, he would emerge from the cave. This rumor made people flock for his darshan. When the Mandali prevented them from approaching the area, they protested that they at least should be able to have a look at the cave from a distance. Acting on Baba's instructions, no one was allowed to go to that side, and some people climbed the steep hill from the other side to see the cave. People would come daily, and coping with all these visitors became a constant bother for the Mandali. It was midsummer, the peak tourist and honeymoon season in Panchgani. Consequently, many curiosity seekers wished to see the cave where Meher Baba had buried himself alive. That's in quotes.
Footnote, it's not unheard of in India that masters take samadhi, and die, of their own accord. In Hinduism, such a death is called Jivan Samadhi. Sadguru Dyananeshwar of Alandi was buried alive, as was Buaji Bua in Arangown.
Meanwhile, to make matters worse, it began raining heavily every night. Taking all these factors into consideration, on the 25th, Baba suggested leaving for Meherabad. After 6 days in strict seclusion, Baba came out of the cave at 12:30 a.m. on Monday, 26 May 1930. No conveyance was available, so they decided to proceed on foot to Wai. At such an hour in the dark jungle and with such a steep gradient, it was nearly impossible to procure a bullock cart to carry their luggage, but Chuggan resourcefully managed to hire one. As they trekked through the mountainous jungle, the bullock carts slowly came behind them. Meanwhile, down in the valley, although Kakashahane and Kalimama were awake in the huts, they did not know that Baba was preparing to leave so soon. They came to know of his departure later when Ali Akbar did not turn up for breakfast. Baba subsequently sent them a written message informing them to join him at Meherabad. When Baba came out of seclusion on the 26th, he complained of a severe toothache in one of his molars, which only got worse as he walked in the early morning cold. After walking 4 hours, they reached Wai. They checked into a dharmshala where Baba took a bath, but he could not rest and had phonograph records played for an hour. Sadashiv was sent a telegram to come to Wai from Pune in Vital's bus by 3 in the afternoon. Rao Sahib Pandit was informed that Baba had suddenly left the cave for his own reasons and was proceeding to Meherabad, and that Pandit should lock the cave at once and allow no one to enter it. Sadashiv arrived with the bus at 2:30. Baba and the group left immediately. They stopped in Pune at a petrol pump in Budwar, Peth, where those of the Mandali who were fasting with Baba since the 15th were given milk. Baba was informed that 5 of the Kaspa Peth Mandali in seclusion had broken their fast and that Sadashiv was taking buttermilk instead of milk as ordered because he could not digest milk. Leaving Pune 5:40 p.m., Baba headed straight towards Meherabad, arriving at 9 that night. Vishnu and Sadashiv remained in Pune. The journey proved to be tiring and uncomfortable. Even though there were only 5 persons traveling in the bus, that could accommodate 20. It was a bumpy ride and there were no cushions for Baba. Pendu was sent to Akbar Press to arrange that Nashawan to supply milk to Meherabad the following day. As a sufficient amount was not available from Arangawan. As soon as they arrived in Meherabad, the work for Baba's seclusion was begun. In the former premises of the MEHER ashram, the water tank reservoir, there were 3 halls which Baba directed Wala Sahib to partition, providing separate rooms for those who were to be secluded. Those men staying at Meherabad who were already in seclusion were asked to come out for 2 days.
Okay, I think it's time for next reader. Jay or PS, would either of you like to read?
Okay.
PS, go ahead.
Page 1178, tumultuous travel. Full Mike at 9 a.m. on the 27th to see Baba, and Behram came from Pune. Bomanji was still living in Meherabad with his family. Soon after Baba returned, a quarrel broke out between Bomanji's wife Tehmina, Beli's sister, and their servant Bhagu, Jamadar's wife. Bomanji stopped Bhagu from coming to work and instead gave the job to Valu. The next day, neither of the servants turned up, as both were friends from Arangaon. The matter was brought to Baba's attention on the 27th, and he criticized Bomanji. You stopped one and allowed the other to come? When you take food by the mouth, you eliminate the waste from the anus. One opening is good, another is bad, but you forget that both are necessary, and life is impossible without them. Similarly, even if Bhagu were bad from your point of view, she is also good. She's sincere and has love. Although she has a mean temperament and is inquisitive by nature, she is good, and because of that, I have kept her at Meherabad. Do you remember how I once slapped Naja on account of her? Everyone is causally nosy, especially you Iranis. When you yourselves are like that, why find fault with others? After inspecting the grounds, Baba became even more annoyed with Bomanji for not having watered the mango trees at Meherabad. He rebuked him. For my own special reason, I planted these seeds. Why were you so careless about the sap? I kept you here to look after the management of Meherabad. Is that the way you're doing it? If so, I will have to find someone else. Baba instructed him not to have anything further to do with the garden and trees at Meherabad. To change the mood, kites were flown and Baba played marbles and Atya Patya. The losers had their ears twisted by Baba. Who can fathom the master's moods, whims, and work? Age commented. One moment the atmosphere around him was serious, and the next playful. On Wednesday, 28th May 1930, Baba visited the Satta family at Akbar Press. Someone complained that Pilu Satta was lazy, but Baba corrected the person, remarking, Pilu's heart is good. He has faith in me. That is enough for me, and I'm satisfied with him. Later that day, Kale Mama and Kaka Shahani returned to Meherabad from Panchgani as instructed. Hadi Senior arrived from Nasik with Mehera, money, and Khorshid and brought them to Meherabad the following morning with Gulmai and Dolly.
Footnote, Mani had been staying with the women Mandali in Nasik during her summer holidays.
That afternoon, Baba remained in hall number 3 of the water tank, east room, with the 3 boys Tukaram, Ali Akbar and Kalinga. They were permitted to sleep in the room also, with Baidul, Rao Sahib and Chagan sharing the night watch. Baba announced that he and the chosen Mandali would begin their seclusion in 3 days on June 1st. To celebrate the sitting in, that is staying secluded, games were played all the next day. Games were arranged all the next day. On the 29th, Baba came down the hill at 7 a.m. and held a meeting with the Mandali on the veranda of the Jhopri. Meals being supplied by Bomanji were not satisfactory, despite him being given sufficient funds. So it was decided that all would stay on milk during Baba's seclusion. Those who were permitted meals could have bread with their milk once a day, or besan, that is chickpea flour dal, or chutney. Baba visited Kaka Shahani's home in Ahmednagar for 5 minutes in Adi's Buet. He returned to Meherabad, bringing Kaka, his son Baban, and Jal Bhai with him. In the afternoon, sweets and tea were served by Baba. Ajoba, the Christian carpenter, visited from Arangao, along with more than a dozen Arangao boys. Gilli Danda was then played, with 2 teams formed with Kaka Shahane and Masaji as captains. There were 20 on each side. The game was played with much enthusiasm, and the team that Baba was on won. The game was played with much enthusiasm, and the team that Baba was on won. Afterward, kites were flown, and a kite fight was fought between Baba, Behram, Adi Senior, and Chagan. Several of the kites were destroyed in the air. Then Baba played marbles with these 3 and with some of the village boys. Nusarwan arrived at dusk while the games were being played. When Baba began talking with him, the game stopped. For half an hour, all assembled around Baba to hear his comments about the present civil disobedience movement and the chaos and confusion throughout the world, particularly in India. Baba remarked to Nasarwan, despite your being so greatly occupied with your political activities, you come to see me, and I am very pleased with your love. Referring to the movement for independence in India, Baba made these prophetic and prescient comments. This is all due to my key, of which no one has the least idea. And whatever is going to happen in the future will also be due to my key. All are equal in my eyes, whether Indians, British, Hindus, or Muslims, for I am in all. I alone am in everyone. The British are quite good in one way, and they too are doing a great service to India. You cannot understand this. The present Viceroy, Lord Irwin, is very, very good, as is Mahatma Gandhi. Both are doing great services to India, though they are apparently on opposite sides. Both men have previous spiritual connections with me, for both lived in the time of Shivaji, though one is a European and the other is now an Indian. But that is insignificant. From ancient times, India has been a land of spirituality. So being born in India is a matter of spiritual pride, inasmuch as a person is seemingly so near the spiritual goal. The best of people born in America, Europe, Africa, and other countries with their good karma from this life are born in India in their next life. And the worst of those born in India with false pride, egotism, and undesirable karmas are born in Europe and America or in places which are so spiritually backward.
Uh,
Great, great upheavals are coming soon throughout the world, particularly in India. There will be great tension in India between the British and the Indians on one hand, and between the Hindus and the Muslims on the other, resulting in terrible bloodshed and massacres. Hindus will kill Muslims, the Muslims will kill Hindus, and the British will kill both. Rivers of blood will flow in India, and there will be corpses everywhere. Civil war will break out in India, and all the parties will clash against one another. Nothing but chaos and confusion will reign everywhere. Out of this cry and clamor for independence, quite a new situation will arise with others intervening and abruptly appearing. Besides this violence, a great war will break out and rage between the Western countries, Russia, America, England, Italy, Germany, and others. There will be such chaos and confusion throughout the world that not one leader will understand what to do. And out of this confusion and chaos, the avatar will appear to guide misguided humanity onto the path of peace and prosperity toward eternal bliss. But that will take time and require great upheavals throughout the world. These disorders, disturbances, and unrest are necessary to make the world turn its face towards spirituality and ensure its future salvation. For this reason, I am staying secluded in a few days. That is why I have been continually saying, good times are coming for all, particularly for those with me and other great God-realized masters. To me, all this intense political activity and widespread agitation for independence throughout India, turning the country upside down, is like a game of gilli danda. I am rather more interested in the thrill and excitement of the game we were just playing because at that time, my spiritual work is at its zenith and great internal workings are effected. During such uproar and disorder, the British leave their country to come to England, and Indians leave their country to go to England. It is all the effect of my work. Every country has my agents, and according to my wish, they work internally toward the goal. These games I play of flying kites, marbles, etc., are my ways of working. Every action of mine is my working and signifies message being sent from here to there and everywhere. Whether I'm taking a stroll or merrymaking, I am working and nobody knows what I really do. Nusserwan had been threatened with arrest by the authorities. Addressing him directly, Baba continued, remember, whether you are in jail or anywhere else, think of me. Keep on remembering me. After you are released from prison, give up all this political activity and come to live with me. Remember what I have told you in the past. All those things appear easy and smooth to you in your activities. You will face difficulties and tense situations as you are beginning to experience now. Nusserwan confessed that this was so. After taking Baba's darshan, he left with a better understanding. The festivities continued the following day with more games, including a spirited game of Atya Patya with Dhake and Chagan as team captains. Baba personally served lunch and dinner to all that day. He held a private meeting with Adi Senior and also with Gulmai, Mehera, Mani, and Korfred, and informed them about his seclusion. Do your duties and obey all the orders I have already given you, he instructed. Don't worry, and think of me always. Then they returned to Nasik. Ramju, Sailor, and Patri came from Nasik the next day, 31st May, and received Baba's instructions. Sarosh arrived that evening with his wife Vilu and his sister-in-law Suna. Many were eager to meet Baba before he entered seclusion. A great crowd of more than 100 persons appeared for Baba's darshan on Sunday, 1st June 1930, and there was a large feast at which Baba himself served the food.
Okay, thanks, PS. Let's have a next reader. Jay Mehta, would you like to read? Or I think Mona's will be ready then, right?
Mahu's there. Mahu could read.
Mahu, I meant, yes. Mahu, you want to read?
Yes, I can do it.
Okay.
Benaz John, باید بهت زنگ بزنم. Okay, قربونه. All right. Okay. Yes, I'm sorry. At 8:30 at night, Arti was sung. A procession started at 9, and since there were no Petromax lanterns, torches were lit. The Mandali decorated a gaudy sofa for Baba, on which they carried him. The procession first wound its way to the Jopti at Lower Meherabad. Baba halted and Gustaji was left to stay secluded in the Jopti. The procession then progressed toward the post office building where Baba had directed Masaji to remain secluded. A group of Lazim dancers and drummers led the procession. Is it percussion? Is it percussion or procession? Eugene, is it percussion?
Procession.
Procession, so I was okay. Thank you. A group of Lazim dancers and drummers led the procession up Meherabad Hill, playing music and singing the entire distance. It took almost an hour to reach the top. Baba allotted hall number 1, West Room, of the water tank to Anna 104. Biharilal, Yektai, and Nadisha. Hall number 2, middle room, was assigned to Bo Sahib, Baidul, Chagan, and Vishnu. Rao Sahib was directed to stay secluded in the underground crypt cabin. Baba permitted darshan to all, and at 10:30 p.m., he retired to hall number 3 of the water tank, where the boys Ali Akbar, Tukaram, and Kalingad were also to remain. Each person had their own partitioned space within the rooms. During this seclusion period, Pendu and Homi Bahatina were assigned the duty of cleaning the toilets and bringing fresh milk daily. Kalemama and his son Babu returned to Kolhapur and Kaka Shahin to Ahmednagar. On 3rd June, after staying in seclusion for 2 days, Baba sent for Chanji and informed him, quote, I now require some distant place for seclusion. Go to Bangalore and Bijapur. Find a suitable spot for me in the South India. End quote. Chanji left on the 6th and was back after 4 days. He narrated the results of his search to Baba, explaining that he had not been able to find a place suitable for seclusion and that Sambhav Iyengar of Madras was continuing the search and would soon report the outcome. There's a footnote.
From June 1930, Sampath Iyengar began publishing a new magazine devoted to Baba titled the MEHER Gazette.
Hearing this, Baba postponed his departure for Bangalore. Khan Sahib Irani owned the Sarosh petrol pump, the Sarosh Motor Works, and the Sarosh Takis movie theater in Ahmednagar. And as mentioned, his son Rustam had opened a Sarosh Motor Works branch in Nasik. A new movie theater was under construction there as well. Chanji's brother Naroji was a conductor, and he was living in Nasik, supervising the construction of the new movie theater, along with Nawal Talati, who was an electrical contractor. Padri also worked extensively on the project. Page 1183, year 1930. Ramaji Campbell, a young man from Arangan, who had previously been in the Meher ashram, had gotten married contrary to Baba's wishes. He was in Nasik, employed as a laborer at the construction site. Baba went with Chanji to Nasik on Wednesday, 11 June 1930 and visited the site. He noticed Ramarji doing manual labor and remarked to him, quote, "It is good for you to work as a laborer, thinking it is my work. But you are not staying with me, and that is your bad luck, though I am happy you are willing to do such work." End quote. Early the next morning, Baba met with Kakabaria, Naroji, Behram, Berjor, and Babu concerning the work at Rustam's Parak and the new cinema. Baba proceeded to Gangapur Falls in search of an isolated spot for his seclusion. He was disappointed that he could not find such a place. He then decided to travel to Diloli, where a darshan function was held at the house of a lover named Jadhav. On his return to Nasik, Baba immediately went to see the women mandali in Gaya's manzil and informed them about the necessity of his seclusion. Baba then visited Rustam's house and met the Rustam's wife, Freni, and her mother, Dolatmai. There, Baba relaxed and played with Rustam's children. Rustam's daughter, Mehru, was about 4 years old at the time, and it was noticed that Baba would often kiss her. On this occasion, Sidhu and Adi Senior sang ghazals for Baba for half an hour. Baba left at noon on June 12 in Rustam's Nash and was back in Meherabad in the early evening. Rostam, Freni, and Gulmai had accompanied Baba, Chanji, and 3 others to Ahmednagar, so the car was crowded. And Baba had more discomfort from a recent outbreak of eczema. Freni went to stay with her in-laws at Khushro quarters for some days. On 13 June, Baba sent for Vishnu, thus breaking Vishnu's fast and seclusion of 13 days. Baba had a private meeting with him and then called all those in seclusion, one by one, except for Gustaji and Masaji, who continued to remain inside the rooms. Soon after these meetings, Baba ordered Bao Sahib to go into seclusion in the cave of Tiger Valley in Panchgani, and Chagan was instructed to look after his needs. Later that day, while alone with Rao Sahib and Baidul, Baba discussed his need to return to Kashmir. Page 1184. Ardeshir had not been able to bring Aga Ali, and Baba stated that this necessitated his return to Srinagar. But he instructed Rao Sahib and Baidul to keep his plans a secret. The Mandali at Meherabad and Nasik were not informed about it immediately. The same day, Baidul was sent by Baba to Persia to try to bring Aga Ali to India. The boy Tukaram was sent to Pune by the 4 o'clock train. On Sunday, 15 June 1930, Baba left Meherabad by train at 6 p.m. with Ali Akbar, Chanji, Rao Sahib, and Vishnu for his second trip to Kashmir. He traveled first to Nasik, staying only for an hour, and then to Bombay, where he arrived at 8 a.m. and had tea at Neeru's. On the afternoon of the 16th, the group left Bombay by train for Delhi. Reached Delhi the next day, Baba and his companions stayed in Maharaja Hotel. I'm going to visit Maharaja Hotel. On 18 June, the devout manager of the hotel brought an astrologer named K.D. Joshi to meet the master. Joshi was an intelligent young man and seemed sincerely drawn to Baba. Chanji later gave him 3 hand-colored photographs of Baba, which Joshi stared at for a few minutes, absorbed in thought. Then quite suddenly, while gazing at Baba's pictures, Joshi predicted, in about 2 years, this powerful personality would come out in full force. The powers that are latent in him and unseen by the world will be manifest, and his silence broken. The silence, too, is a sign that his extraordinary powers have been kept secret and unknown for the past 5 years. These powers will burst forth in the next 2 years in their full force, sweeping the whole of humanity in its sway. Later that day, R.N. Kalia, the Delhi correspondent of a Lahore English newspaper, came to see Baba. Kalia said, I am now trying to make as much money as possible so that I may be able to invite saints like you to my house. I wish to serve saints and keep them in comfort. Baba's reply was especially poignant. Saints love lovers of God, even if they are poor. Those who are rich but without love, saints would never lack for a host. So a saint would prefer a poor beggar who has love and devotion for God to a rich person devoid of either. Your objective is good, but the way in which you intend to fulfill it is doubtful.
Thanks, Mohu. We have, let's just read one page at a time now. Mona, are you ready to read?
Yep.
Okay.
Could you just make it a little bigger? Thank you. In your enthusiasm to get money, you're likely to resort to undesirable means, perhaps even becoming.
I lost something here.
We're on a short break now, guys, till we get the words back. Okay, do we know what page number we
Yeah,
were
Lord
on?
Meher Online Edition, click on the tab.
Do you know
Marvin.
what page? Mahu, I have the book open. Do you know what page?
Oh, yeah. The page, I have it. Hold on 1 second.
Next tab over, Marvin. To the left.
Here it is.
There it is.
It's page 1185 in
Okay.
the online. And it starts with in your enthusiasm to get money.
Okay. Okay, we have it here as well. Just a moment. In your enthusiasm to get money, you're likely to resort to undesirable means, perhaps even becoming unscrupulous. It is better for you to remain poor with an honest and loving heart instead of collecting riches by dishonest means. Keep the company of saints and have love for God. You will surely achieve the aim of your life. Your ideal of service is only a means to an end and not the end itself. So try to go further until you attain the highest and noblest end itself. To say that only a few selected ones gain embrace onto the path does not mean you should not try. Why be drowned in Maya when you can rise out of it and be drowned in the ocean of bliss and knowledge? A real saint wants only love and devotion from his devotees. Not money, not luxurious comforts. Try to create divine love within your heart by longing for God, and you will have everything. The group left Delhi for Srinagar on Thursday, 19 June 1930. The next day, they reached the town of Murray, where they rested 2 nights before continuing their journey. On the 19th, a boy named Tulsi was found in Lahore, and he was taken with them to Srinagar. In the town of Dubail, a Punjabi gentleman approached Baba while Baba was reclining on his seat in the bus. and asked if he believed in the Bhagavad Gita. Baba gave him a succinct reply. I not only believe in it, I experience it every moment. God is to be seen and actually experienced. Mere intellectual understanding is not sufficient. You may read Shastras. I request everybody to please mute themselves. Thank you. I, okay, not only believe in it, I experience it every moment. God is to be seen and actually experienced. Mere intellectual understanding is not sufficient. You may read Shastras, Hindu scriptures for the rest of your life, but that will not take you an inch nearer to God if you have no desire to see Him, to experience Him, or to know Him. Before the man departed, he asked Baba, would it be selfish on my part if I ask you to pray for us sinners? Baba spelled on the alphabet board, blessings. And the man smiled and contently and left. When they arrived in Gari, Baba remarked, from the point of view of my work, Quetta is the best in all respects, but there are obstacles there which impede my work. Therefore, going to Quetta at this time is not desirable. Then there's a map of the Kashmir tour of 1930, which shows the route that Baba had taken in India and around it. It's not very clear that I could have spoken of the places. Yeah. I think Baba went from Lahore to Jammu, Amritsar, Delhi, Agra, Lahore, Lucknow, Jhansi, Bhopal, Baroda,
Okay, let's just go to the last sentence.
Nasik. Yeah. The group reached Srinagar on Monday, 23rd June 1930. Early the next day, Baba sent Vishnu and Rao Saab to Harwan village to bring the boy Pandit to him. Next page, please.
We're going to stop here. This is page 1186.
So from next week, we'll read from 1186. Thank you.